Normally security cameras can see about this wide, but this new camera from Reolink can see much wider. Actually, way more than you would expect, and it's insane. It can still see me. That's because this camera actually has two cameras on it pointing in opposite directions. That's how it gets that 180-degree panorama field of view. What's cool is that Reolink's able to merge two images into one this time. Last year, the Reolink Duo treated them both as two camera feeds, and it kind of felt like more of a gimmick to me, and that's why I wasn't really interested in it. This one though is a different story. There's basically no line down the center. Yes, when I walk across the middle, you can see it switch cameras, so unless someone is walking down the middle of it, it shouldn't be much of a problem. And a side note, Reolink did send me this camera to try out, but they are not sponsoring this video, so I'm able to share my honest opinion with you. Anyway, so the old Duo camera had only a 150-degree field of view, where this stretches even wider to 180 degrees. And since this has two cameras, there's almost no distortion on the edges, which is much better than a single camera with a 180-degree fisheye view. But I'm wondering if these cameras will almost be too wide. You know, will there be even enough resolution to see a license plate on the street? Well, let's test it out. It actually has 4K resolution, which is a nice bump over last year's 2K. Looking at the license plate up close, it's nice and sharp. When I start moving back though, the plate quickly becomes blurry. And holding it at an angle from a distance, it's almost unreadable. I then held it at the same distance as another 4K camera that is 3 times the cost and only a 128-degree field of view, so you can see that it looks much sharper. It's kind of what I expected. You know, with that wider field of view, it is going to sacrifice a little bit of that sharpness. And it was set to the default max bitrate, and if I set that to the highest it would go, I'm sure it would improve quality a little bit, but I don't know if it would be that drastic. To be honest, I've almost never needed that extra detail far in the distance, but there's been plenty of times where I've just missed something just out of frame and that extra wide field of view would have captured it. The picture quality with lower light is good though. Here it's dusk with the sun behind me, and the camera's still able to pick up a lot of detail of my face. This can be difficult for a lot of cameras. Plus, what's really cool is that even though this is technically two cameras capturing this one image, the exposure stays the same, even though one camera is looking into the sun and the other is not. It's pretty sweet. When it's nighttime, you have a couple of options. You can use the 6 infrared LEDs for black and white night vision, or you can use the 8 LED spotlights for color night vision. The night vision looks pretty good. If I'm close, you can see quite a bit of detail in my face, but when I move back, the detail goes away, as you might expect. I only view the black and white night vision as backup though, because the spotlights activate color night vision and it's so much better. So when the camera detects a person, the spotlight turns on, and these things are bright. Look at that, there's no other porch lights turned on and you can see me really well. I really like the lights on this camera. They're less bulky than those other floodlight cameras. Obviously, they're not going to be as bright as those, but they're much brighter than the other cameras with a built-in LED that are typically not as bright. But it does kind of look like a robot head.
Hey Dad, why is there a robot up there?
Oh, that's just a camera keeping us safe.
It's creepy.
Don't worry, it's only outdoors. Now before I go further, I want to get into storage, monthly costs, and price. There are two versions of this camera, PoE and Wi-Fi. PoE, or Power over Ethernet, allows you to connect one Ethernet cord for both power and data. If your house does not have Ethernet pre-wired for security cameras, you might look at the Wi-Fi version. It does have to be plugged into power, but you might already have an outlet on the outside of your house like we do. For storage, you have a lot of options. You can record to the onboard microSD card, the Synology NAS server, FTP, or Reolink's NVR. Reolink says you should be able to connect the Wi-Fi version to the NVR. I personally wasn't able to set this up, and I don't know if it's my firmware or just something on my end, but hopefully Reolink is able to fix this with an update. The PoE version connects straight to the NVR that has a hard drive inside, and doing that, it can record 24/7, which is great to not miss anything. Okay, now I need to talk to you about monthly fees. Well, there are none, and the price is actually not bad. It's $150 for the PoE version and $160 for the Wi-Fi version. But to get it down to that price, they probably had to cut some corners, which brings me to the app. First, watching playback of recorded footage is not intuitive at all. The 24/7 recorded footage is broken up into hour-long clips. Then you have to scrub through, and it's very difficult to find when things happened. If you want to see when people were detected, you have to click on the little grayed out button in the bottom left that feels almost hidden. Then you have to uncheck motion, cars, and pets just to see people. If you want to see more of the clip, you have to go back and find that exact spot in the 24/7 footage. It's extremely clunky and just a terrible user experience. It's so bad that I almost never go back and watch old Reolink footage because it takes so long to load. To be fair, the live view does work well and you can toggle the spotlight on and off. You can also view multiple camera streams at once. There's also two-way voice and it works surprisingly well. The speaker on it is loud and you can adjust the volume.
This is audio at medium level for the Reolink camera.
I wouldn't normally try to talk to someone on the camera in front of my house because they're usually like, what are you saying? But this actually might be usable. Also, the mics on this thing are pretty good and I'm about 30 feet away. There are custom motion zones and you can also add the Wi-Fi version to your smart home displays. Unfortunately, this does not work with cameras added to the NVR, but it loads up fast on the Google Home display and it also works on the Echo Shows too. I love that this one camera can eliminate almost all my blind spots in front of my house. The price is good, but I just wish Reolink would update their app to be more user-friendly. So if you don't plan on using the app all the time, or if you're just willing to put up with it, then this could be a good option for you. And I personally would take a wider field of view and give up a little bit of that detail in the distance. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Hey Allie, I'm gonna test out the Wi-Fi camera feature, so just a heads up.